Hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Work Item Podcast. And we're back with a great guest today, Alexis from HaloDotAPI. Hello, Alexis. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me today. Let's chat about the HaloDotAPI.
Let's chat about HaloDotAPI. But before we get to that, I actually have a question because this podcast is oriented towards folks that are still exploring their careers. They're thinking about their careers. Walk me through your own career path. What do you do? How you got here? All that fun stuff.
Honestly, I am self-taught. I moved to Paris from Normandy more than 10 years ago, and I started an internship at a social media company. And I got this internship past then thanks to a contact I had at Microsoft de France, who shared my profile to someone at Facebook Friends after a few bug bounty reports I sent to Facebook. And after a year at this company, I started to work as a freelancer for a few months. And yeah, my mom told me like, you need to find a real job. And yeah, at this time it was not my priority. And I didn't really look for it, but I released a small Chrome extension which was able to download MP3s from various music streaming platforms such as Spotify, Deezer, and Groove Music. And this extension was named DZFi, and I didn't spend time to reverse all the encryption stuff, and I was only matching the played song title with an external social website named Vkontakte, which is just a Russian Facebook clone, which had a ton of illegal content such as MP3s and movies. And well, the wow effect was enough, and the founder of Deezer, which is like Spotify but French, just to sum up, reached to me via Facebook, and honestly, I was kind of scared this time because, like, wow, will I go to jail for that? No, I got my first job, and that's my bad. And also, I had a few issues with Facebook, with the Facebook Security Center at this time, as they didn't consider one of my security reports as valid. So I released an app exploiting the reported issue, and they took it down like after 48 hours. And to sum up, I was able to send Facebook messages to anyone from anyone by exploiting their at facebook.com domain. So my app was designed to impersonate Mark Zuckerberg himself.
Wow. So there's a story there.
Yeah, it's just a little sum up, but yeah.
You mentioned that you were self-taught. Well, how did you actually go about learning all of this stuff? Because there's quite a bit, to go from zero to actually sending messages as Mark Zuckerberg. There's a big gap there.
Just curiosity, that's all. I was just too curious to understand how various API worked and what I can do with them outside of the box. And so yeah, I was like 16, I guess. And I was just looking at facebook.com, all the requests, and I was like, okay, if I want to update this page, I need to submit an ID. What will happen if I change this ID? Oh, there is no validation. No, I am the owner of the official Facebook page. And so yeah, I made a ton of reports like that I sent to the Facebook Security Center. And yeah, just mainly curiosity, just to understand how it works, or I can like create something by myself. So I just downloaded a website template back then, pure HTML, CSS. I was like, okay, it's cool. Now I need to animate things. Oh, there's JavaScript. Oh, that's great. Now I need a database. Okay, what's PHP? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, great, and etc. So yeah, it's just like from nothing to everything now.
I also like the story comes to the fact that you got a job offer out of you fiddling with an API and not
Yeah.
necessarily any trouble, because that's always nice to hear when companies actually understand that somebody fiddling with the API isn't necessarily a bad thing. But you reverse engineered quite a few APIs. Halo is one of them, but as you mentioned, there's quite a few before. What draws you to this activity? Why reverse engineering, because there's so many other things that developers could do, right? You could be building websites and mobile applications. You're doing reverse engineering. Why?
Once again, I was just curious to understand how everything works. And I don't know, sometimes some people like to design, also like to just build a website, and I was just always focused on, okay, you have a sexy website, but what's behind the hood? And I want to design what's behind. And that's what led me to just be more focused on all the existing APIs I could even find.
So let's talk about then the favorite topic in this room, which is Halo. Why is Halo your focus?
Let's say that Halo made me, as I got my first contact at Microsoft France past then, thanks to my passion for Halo. I even created one of the biggest French Halo community past then, and my team and I went to various events organized by Microsoft and Bungie. So yeah, I won't be able to say goodbye to this license.
What was the Halo community?
We had quite a few names. It was named initially Wolf Halo. Yeah, it sounds strange. Then it was renamed to Halo 2 Infinity, then Halo 3 Infinity, and was like, okay, should we do a Halo 4 Infinity, or should we find a more generic name? So we decided to go for Halo Destiny. And fun fact, when we met Bungie for the second time, we told them that we have a new name, and it was Halo Destiny. They were like, why Destiny, by the way? Because Destiny at this time was not released yet or announced. It was just we got lucky on this one, and they were like, okay, something is odd, but okay, let's forget about that. But yeah.
Yeah, you were kind of preempting the, Halo 2 Infinity and everything else, because when Infinite came out, I'm curious what the name would have been.
Yeah, and that's I still remember one of the leaks, which was, oh, maybe the new game will be called Halo Infinity. I was like, seriously? But no, it was Halo Infinite. But yeah.
Halo Infinity. How's Halo different from any other games in this genre? Because, Halo's not the only space shooter, if you will.
For me, Halo is very unique. I have so much memories. And I even met one of my best friends during the Halo 2 and Halo 3 era. And yeah, it's just once again, it's a part of my life. So I just cannot leave it right now.
And how many years have you been playing it now?
Oh, I initially discovered Halo come Halo Evolve thanks to a friend. So I still remember this day. I was at my place playing at the game with Samus. Metroid, yeah, my bad. I was playing Metroid on my GameCube. I was, I love this game. That's so cool. And a friend called me saying oh, hey mate, I got an Xbox with a new game called Halo. I don't know if you know it. I was like, no, okay, let's try it. And we just spent all day playing in co-op. It was like, oh my god, I love this game. And the next year I just bought a Halo 2 with an Xbox and fan book I got from my parents, of course. But I was like, okay, this was my best decision ever.
And that's where the whole story starts, which brings us to HaloDotAPI. How did you get started with that?
Oh god, I'm gonna repeat this one, but once again, curiosity. I initially released a kind of first version of HaloDotAPI 6 years ago, I guess, and I made it open source on GitHub. As at this time, Halo 5 had a public API, but it was too limited for me. I wanted to do more, so much more that I I got banned. My account and my Xbox just got banned because I managed to unlock all the free skins, and I released an app for that, which was a bad idea.
It seems a trend of releasing an app for it being a bad idea.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so getting to what HaloDotAPI is now, what exactly led you to kind of building a web service, right? Because right now it's
Yeah.
not just a library, it's actually something you can go and sign up for. And how does it work behind the scenes?
The HaloDotAPI that we have now today was initially a proof of concept I made to try out the Xbox Live authentication that I wanted to include initially to my other website, xboxreplay.net, and a website which is able to pull your recent Xbox screenshot and clips, and of course share them easily to your friends. And well, let's say that HaloDotAPI took over my priorities and became what we have now.
I think for Xbox, don't they also have like Xbox DVR or something along those lines?
Yeah, there is also a few like, not, I won't call them competitors, but there is like gamerdvr.com, there is xboxclips.com. There is a ton of like clip/screenshot website now, but I was just curious to understand by myself how the Xbox API works. And so I tried to like just to fetch some clips and screenshots, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And now I understand how the API works. Let's create a website. So I just created I created then xboxreplay.net. And then I was like, okay, I want to do more. I want to include the Xbox Live authentication. So I need to reverse this part. I managed to reverse it. And I was like, okay, it's kind of huge. I need to try it out somewhere. And somehow, oh, got an idea. Let's try to recreate kind of a new Halo API with this authentication system. And voila.
And here we are with the
Yeah.
Halo.api. When you were building it all out, it seems I have a question that is tangentially related to what we talked about. And it seems like you're kind of jumping between front end development and back end development, which is API. Which one do you like the most?
The most is backend stuff, honestly. All the APIs, for me, it's very fun to create a kind of for me at least, a perfect architecture and to be able to please some external developers to like, okay, there is an API for that. Oh, I can do everything I want because it's well designed, it works well, and I don't need to look for something else. So, but because it's not really true what I'm gonna say, but anyone can create a website, but provide a great experience for developers, it's something else, and that's what I want to do.
And especially because developers are much more demanding about how things need to be structured, what kind of data you want to get back. So interesting problems, which also leads me to ask, Halo.api has a pretty, I want to say, like extensive amount of coverage for the official API. So the underlying pipeline is pretty big. What was some of the interesting problems that you had to solve with wrapping kind of the entirety of the Halo API surface into this?
The first problem I had back then, it was to like found all endpoints I need without owning the game, because I started to work on infinite endpoints like 1 year prior to game's release, and so I had to spend like hours and hours to find them all just by like posting some requests, getting some data, and thanks to my kind of previous work I made for the Halo 5 API, I just try to reuse at least the same schema for my calls, and I managed to find a few endpoints, and I got a working Infinite API like during the first flight of Halo Infinite, and then I released a public beta of the API during the flight 2. And then when the game dropped, I just, okay, everyone, there is now day one an unofficial Halo API for Halo Infinite. And well, it was great, and I spent so much money on it because on November I spent like $2,000 just for the servers, for the cache. So yeah, it was just very expensive and I had to pay everything from my own pocket.
I think that's a piece of information that is often lost on folks, is that running servers costs money. Running any kind of API costs even more money because now you're dealing with the load balancers and the caches and everything else that sits in between. And it's not free. And this is why you had the hashtag SaveHalo.api not too long ago.
Oh yeah, it's something else. But yeah, also by the way, at this time when the game released, it was also fun to see some developers from Free for Free even sharing my stats on their Twitter, because I provide at this time a stat card generator, and you were able to to grab your stats inside our cards and share them online. And well, a ton of streamers share this card saying like, okay, you want to get your stats, just replace your gamer tag in this URL and you will get your stats, and you will be able to share on Twitter. And this was, I think, one of the most expensive part I had to deal with at this time. And yeah, regarding the safe HaloDotAPI, it's something else because HaloDotAPI was acquired by AutoCode around like November, December. Initially, Andy Bravo from the well known in the Halo community reached to me past then saying like, oh, we are looking for some developers, Halo API developers, to see what they want to do with the API, what they need to do, etc. And at this time, Bravo was contracted by a company named AutoCode, and they were looking to like provide new APIs on their service, and they wanted to start with Halo regarding gaming APIs. And at this time, yeah, they made a few interviews and a ton of like interviewed a ton of participants like were like, oh yes, I know the Halo API, but are you aware of HaloDotAPI? And a ton of like, yes, they all kind of caught HaloDotAPI, HaloDotAPI, HaloDotAPI. So they went straight back to me and saying, okay, we want you.
So yet another story of you joining because of your work, right?
Yes.
So how did that acquisition actually empowered HaloDotAPI moving forward?
Well, honestly, I'm gonna say it. AutoCode really saved a lot of the API paths then because they kind of like um, paid for everything, so it give me some time to optimize a ton of things behind the hood, like reduce the cache cost, reduce a ton of things, and just yeah, they saved a lot of the API and they allowed me like they give all the tools I needed to like to make one of the biggest Halo API on the market at this time.
In terms of being acquired, right? A lot of folks, when the topic of acquisition comes up, they think that they're losing control of what they build.
I didn't. Yeah, no, I didn't. Honestly, they give me like, okay, this is still your project. Do anything you want to do on it, and yeah, it's just enjoy, and that's all. Yeah, I was just free.
So it basically is the dream job of basically like, we're going to pay you to do what you're already doing
Right.
anyway.
Yes, right. So that's why it was just a huge opportunity for me, for the Halo API, for myself, and yeah, I couldn't say no at this time.
HaloDotAPI is used by a lot of developers.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the scenarios? You mentioned kind of the cards that folks shared on socials. What else? What have developers built with HaloDotAPI?
Let's start with myself. So I released like a ton of tools powered by the API, like a file browser for Halo Infinite, a service record website, which was made, by the way, from a colleague from AutoCode. The website is named halo.info, by the way. Some Twitch overlays, a Discord bot, and then other developers who embraced this API released various stat websites, and even past then, HaloTracker.com used HaloDotAPI, which was also kind of responsible for the big cost I had.
So how do you find time for everything? It seems like, again, there's so much stuff that's on deck. There is the Twitch stuff, the different sites, and I am sure that a lot of developers have a lot of needs that probably are pinging you about that stuff.
It's kind of easy, just don't sleep, drink out of Red Bull, and enjoy your day.
That's a recipe. How sustainable is that? For how long can you run like that?
I don't know, maybe like until I'm too old for that, maybe. But yeah, no. See, no. Yeah. Honestly, just I won't be able to, I think, to answer this question because it's just I'm driven by the passion to work on that. So I don't seem like I don't know. I just love doing that. So yeah, I cannot be like tired of that.
So it looks like if you really enjoy what you're doing, time is kind of at that point is irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
You find time
Yes.
for
Right.
it. Yeah.
Yes. Right.
So if you look back at everything that you've built around Hail.api, all the tools, all the stuff that came out with it, what are some of the biggest lessons learned for you from your experience?
Don't let your dreams be dreams. I don't know. But no, I mean, if you are passionate about something and you want to like to create or try at least to create something with a little part of the knowledge you may have, just go for it and don't let anyone to tell you, oh, it doesn't matter, it won't be used or else. If you want to do something, just release your service, just work on what you like, and that's kind of all.
Basically, if you're passionate about an idea, see it through. Who knows what's
Yeah,
going to turn out? It could be
yeah,
a job. Your
yeah.
MP3 downloader became a job.
Right.
Which now leads me to ask, for all the work that you've done with HaloDotAPI, what's next for it? What do you see the future for it?
Oh yeah, so yeah, let's go back to the save HaloDotAPI. So initially when AutoCAD acquired the IP, we wanted to leave this API like free for everyone, and we had like one of our objective was to reach out to Microsoft and Free for Free and see if we can work with them, because okay, you maybe don't have the time to make your own API. We managed to provide one which is like used by 99% of existing Allostat website. We want to help you to improve slash fix haloweapon.com, to give you some feedback, report some security issues. We just want to work with you. And unfortunately, well, it didn't happen. So we had to think okay, this API cost us much money, and what we can do if we cannot work with Microsoft, we will try to save it thanks to the community. We want to create a little pressure thanks to the community to see if Free for Free will acknowledge us, and it didn't work, unfortunately. So we decide okay, stand by. The API works well. We don't need to focus on it anymore. Let's try to just keep it alive, and we will release some pet tiers on it. If you want to access to API, you need to pay, and voila, that's all. And so that's why now the Halo.API, the API itself is kind of in standby. There is only a few bug fix on it. I'm still following what's happening inside. Free for Free by inside, I mean, if there is a new season, new weapons, new, I don't know, stats, exposed stats, I will update the API, but it's not like a full-time job now. Now I'm just focused to help AutoCAD to provide new APIs or improve a ton of things on the project itself.
That makes sense. And something that actually is admirable about this project is that you kind of put a set of pricing tiers for folks using it, because as we talked about before, running that is not free. And what I've seen a lot of startups do is they just give out their product for free, and that means you're absorbing all the costs, and they're a little bit afraid of charging customers. You're not. You basically said, nope, we know that this costs money. There's different pricing tiers that get you kind of different levels of benefits from this API. But were you kind of hesitant to push for the kind of the paid model, or was it kind of an obvious choice of no, we have to charge for it?
No. Initially, it was either we work with Microsoft slash Free for Free, or we just kill the API. But we were we spent so much time to work on it, so much days, months to have a great product, which is still used by a ton of external websites. So yeah, we cannot just kill it. Okay, we had to make this decision to ask our user to pay for it, and yeah, I think it was kind of the best. We had a ton of we spent hours to talking about that, but yeah, I think it was the best decision we made, because we still have a public API for Halo, and we are getting some money thanks to it. But yeah.
For somebody that wants to, let's say they listen to this and they think, wow, I want to get into reverse engineering too, what should they focus on? So you mentioned curiosity as kind of the mindset, but what about the tools or the skills that they need to have to be proficient in that?
Oh, I think the easiest way to start to reverse. Okay, I'm just gonna focus on the OLAP on this one, because now everyone can, honestly, anyone can just recreate a public Halo API. But by doing that, they will notice that there is a ton of things that HaloDotAPI does that which makes their life easier, and by making everything by themselves, it will just They will spend as much time I have spent to making the HaloDotAPI. But anyway, I think the easiest thing to do right now for the Halo API itself is just to go to haloweapon.com using, I don't know, Chrome for instance, and just inspect the request and see what goes and from which APIs, what endpoint is called, what's the response, how it works. Just copy paste all the schema you see, try to like analyze everything and replay all the requests you have. And by doing that, you can just like create a little doc with, okay, to have like the customization from Aspartan, I need to call this endpoint. Okay, which parameters are required to call this one? Okay, I'm gonna try this one, this one, this one, and just try to understand how the API itself works, and then try to replicate it by your own.
So the tools basically already it's in their hands. It's the browser.
Yeah, it's a browser itself to start with. And if you want to go further, okay, you can just run Halo Infinite on your PC, download maybe, I don't know, HTTP request debugger or Fiddler and see what happened. And you will see all the requests, the authentication system. You will just see everything you need to understand how it works, and you may be able to try to replicate it.
Last question that I have is where can folks learn more about the stuff that you build, HaloDotAPI? Where do they go?
Either way, on the HaloDotAPI Twitter account itself, or even my kind of now inactive personal Twitter account, which is Zeny_IC, or they can also join my Discord server, HaloDotAPI1 at least, or message me on Discord at Zeny 7777. How many sevens there is? 4? But yeah.
All the links are going to be in the description. So, Alexis, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
And thanks to you once again for having me, and yeah, it was great.